Hey guys, Jake here with Blockbuster. Excited today to showcase our brand new B16 HP that we have right behind us. So the new B16 or B16, really it's a family of processors. There's a couple different configurations, but behind us we have a B16 HP. So it is our newest frame. It highlights a lot of the features of the B18, but on a smaller, more compact, more economically priced frame platform. Really kind of takes the place of the size of the 1412 Plus and 1520 Plus models, but again, new frame, and we'll go ahead and just kind of walk around and show you all the features. So very first here you can see, just starting from the back side or the business side, in here we have our new 16-way radial wedge. So we introduced our 16-way box wedge last fall, coming up on a year ago already. And a lot of people really liked it. We've had great success with it, but we keep getting people asking for a little bit smaller pieces. And this, we believe, really delivers. It's really a play on our 24-way wedge that we introduced on our B20 HP. We just took that outer set of fins off and put it on our 3/4 inch thick material platform here. So our new 16-way radial wedge, you can also see, this splitting chamber, kind of a new design that we introduced on the B18 last year, is incorporated on the new B16 frame. So what that does is allows us to utilize a taller push plate that we have here to utilize a 16-way box wedge or even the radial wedge. We have enough height on here to have good surface area coverage to get that piece of wood pushed all the way through. The other thing that this splitting chamber allows us to do is utilize our 16-foot attached hydraulic pivot elevator. So on the B16, you guys have been asking for it on the smaller machines. Can I get a larger elevator than the 12-foot? And the answer is yes. This will be our standalone option for an attached elevator on the B16. So we'll talk about the different model configurations or configuration breakdowns, but the 2-strand, the 3-strand, and the HP version, all versions will showcase or utilize this 16-foot attached hydraulic pivot elevator. So those of you that are not familiar with that, we introduced this attached elevator last year on the B18. It is winch operated up and down. We have a remote that you can use to operate the up and down function, as well as an electric toggle switch here on the operator's platform. And then it also hydraulically pivots side to side. So if you just simply lift it up, you can hydraulically pivot 30 degrees from center one direction and 30 degrees the other, for a total of 60-degree a total pivot on this unit. So really excited. You guys have been asking for this elevator on other models for a long time, so we've got it here on this B16 in conjunction with the new splitting chamber that we released last year that allows us to utilize the 16-way wedge and clean out better underneath it, as well as a taller push plate to get that material through that wedge. So really excited on that part of it. If you come here, you can see here, if we back up, this is a 3-strand model. So we're going to offer a 2-strand and a 3-strand. So just to break it down, the B16, just a straight B16, is a 2-strand model. It will accommodate log lengths up to 16 feet. This is a B16 Plus HP. So the Plus represents a 3-strand model that we can now accept up to a 24-foot log length. So B16 standard is a 2-strand up to 16 feet. B16 Plus 3-strand, 24 feet log length. So 20-inch max diameter cut on this machine. So we can go up to 20 inches in diameter, 16-foot log length on the 2-strand, and 24-foot log length on the 3-strand. On the 3-strand or the Plus versions, we also go to a heavier axle. So if you've seen the video of the B16, the standard B16, we use a 6K axle. Here we have our 7,000-pound axle. And this machine weighs in at just over 8,000 pounds with the attached elevator, and then we're carrying roughly about 1,300 pounds of tongue weight on the tongue with it fully loaded. On the HP models, there is a wedge storage bracket on the other side that comes standard, and you get the operator seat that comes standard on the HP models. On the non-HP, and we'll break the HP down when we walk around to the other side, on the standard B16 and B16 Plus platforms, the seat and wedge storage bracket are add-on features. You can also see we've cleaned up the operator station. So We don't have an operator's platform like we do the B18 and B20 and our larger offset machines. It is a very similar to our 1412 Plus and 1520 Plus, where you have the controls and everything happening right in front of you. Obviously, you can sit down with the seat, but we did clean up the operator station a little bit, just a little more incorporation here. For a lot of reasons. A, it looks nicer. B, easier to manufacture. But you can see we now have our gauges that we utilize for the different functions right there in front of us. So those of you guys that are familiar with even our larger, bigger machines, like your saw pivot pressure that every once in a while may need adjusted, on those older machines, that gauge is out on the back, so you almost had to have one person running the saw while one person looked at that gauge. We finally got everything consolidated right where it needs to be in front of the operator to make it a one-person operation. So Lexan window here to protect us from just debris and anything that happens with the saw. You can see this machine also features our operator light package, so that is an option on all of the machines. As we come back around here, have our 30-gallon hydraulic fluid tank or ATF tank that we utilize for the entire machine. So similar to all of our other machines, our ATF or hydraulic fluid actually acts as our bar lubricant as well. So as we energize that saw, we have our needle valve over here on the operator station that we can adjust our lubrication amount. When that saw is energized, we let oil go by this needle valve, and that's what lubricates our bar and chain. It's really nice. You don't have a separate bar oiler tank, and you're only oiling as you run the saw. It's not like it's constantly sending oil when it's not needed. So you can see here on this Plus version or the B16 HP, our 3-strand deck, we do have a little bit wider deck than we did on the 1412 Plus and 1520 Plus. Those models were right at 5 foot. With this, we are just shy of 6 foot. We're just a little bit shy of right at 6 foot with the B18 HP, just a couple inches shorter. But we do have more log capacity here than the 1412 Plus and 1520 Plus. You can see our air compressor is mounted on the HP versions. That does come as part of the HP package. We can kind of break that down quick. So HP, our high performance package, does a couple different things. We get our air compressor, which gives us auto saw bar retract. So as soon as we let go of the cut lever, that bar will automatically retract out of the way for us. So that's included in the HP package. We also made some enhancements to our hydraulics to greatly speed up the split cycle time. So this machine uses the same amount of tonnage as our B18 HP. It's a 5-inch diameter cylinder piston with a 24-inch stroke length for a max, splitting cut length of 22-inch. But it's rated right at 30 tons, just like our B18 HP. But with the enhancements and things that we do with the hydraulic package on the HP, we are down right at about 3.5 seconds of cycle time on this machine with that. So you get a much faster cycle time on the split. And then we also have hydraulic auto cycle. So similar to the B18 HP, it's one pull back. As soon as you pull that splitting lever, it will extend all the way through the split process and automatically retract. And then we've also made some enhancements to the saw and cut speed that are included in the HP package. So faster splitting, faster cutting, auto saw bar retract, and you get the auto cycle on there. And then it is also a 49 horsepower Doosan diesel engine that we use on the HP package. So same engine as we would use on the base model, but we have the enhancements to the saw motor, the splitting cylinder, air retract for the saw bar, and auto cycle. So all of those items in your HP package, that's what that consists of, as well as the operator seat and the spare wedge bracket on the other side being included in that. So we walk around here. Again, hydraulic tank, 30 gallons, just a little bit bigger than what we did on the 1412 Plus and 1520 Plus. Even those HP versions were 25. We've increased that just a little bit for cooling capacity. We come around the front, you can see all of our B-Series models going forward will have the dual crank jacks. The first versions of the B18s have the dead leg on the front passenger side. Going forward, everything across the board will have the dual crank jacks, just to, for stability, just to get you right where you need to be to get leveled up. And the other change on here on these B16s compared to the 1412 Plus and 1520 Plus is we went to a 2 5/16 ball on there. So all of our new B series are all now 2 5/16. We still use the 1412 plus and 1520 plus use a 2-inch, but these will be 2 5/16. So again, the B16 frame, really a lot different just visually and aesthetically from what we're used to with the 1412 plus and 1520 plus. More of a square rectangular frame, and we build up from there. It gives us our narrow transport that we're used to, but the really nice feature of having that square frame and not just having a single tubular frame that we build off of is that you can see that our deck strands here are legless. We no longer have the legs that help support the weight. We can utilize the frame to bear the weight of that log deck when we have the deck strands deployed. So you can see we have one folded up. We're less than 7 foot of transport width, so very easy to trail down the road with any pickup. Again, more similar to the B18 HP frame, minus the operator's platform. We've revised the operator's station on here. But again, just more of a square frame, more modular, and a lot of the enhancements of the B18 HP, which is where we located things to make them easier to get at, including the fuel tank, hydraulic tank, air compressor, all of that. More right there on the outside of the machine to where you don't have to crawl underneath it to access anything. So we come around here, we have our toolbox, standard equipment on all of our machines. In that box with the air compressor or HP models, you get an air hose that you can use to blow the machine off, air up a tire, whatever it may be. You get a spare bar, a couple spare chains, spare saw sprocket, files, safety glasses, all of that's housed in the toolbox, and that comes standard on every machine. 25-gallon fuel tank, and then we come back here to our engine. So here we have our 49 horsepower Doosan diesel engine. If we opt for the standard B16, which is a 2-strand, or the B16 plus, which is a 3-strand, we can go to a diesel engine, which would be this 49 horsepower option. And then the HP package, should we choose that, again, just to recap, that gets you your air compressor for saw bar retract, faster splitting performance, faster cut times, and then you also have the hydraulic auto cycle as well as the spare wedge bracket that you see there, and the operator's seat being included in that. Come back here, air tank for the air functions, and then just like the B18 and B20, we utilize this adjustable sawdust chute, so that can be adjusted up, down to dictate how far away we're getting with the sawdust. We come back here, maybe just a little bit different view of the splitting chamber. This machine does not have the last piece table on it, but it is an option. So as we get to our last bit of length, we have our our last piece table that will actually help support that log, so it's not trying to fall and go over center. You're not trying to hold it. That way we can get our cut on there, keep a nice square cut, and then get that mechanism back out of our way. Auto tension is an option on here. This is our standard tension, very similar to chainsaw. We loosen these 2 nuts, and then we can adjust the bar to tighten or loosen and tighten these back up, so very similar to a chainsaw. If we add auto tension, it's actually a little different motor mount mechanism, but that bar is actually supported in there by a toolless design. Allows us the ability to remove the bar and or chains without using any tools, and it keeps a set tension on the chain. So there's no adjustment to the chain. You don't have to worry about it. There's nothing you can do to change it. It's always at a set spring tension. So again, just to recap, B16, 2 and 3 strand models available. So B16 plus represents a 3 strand that gets us up to 24-foot log length. The standard B16 is 2 strand that supports up to a 16-foot log length. We have the new revised splitting chamber on here that we introduced on the B18 HP. With that, in combination with our taller push plate design and our 30-ton cylinder that we're utilizing, we can use the 4, 8, 12, and both 16-way wedge options. Now we have the 16-way box, and then the 16-way, what we're calling the radial, 16-way radial. So that's part of the new B series enhancements. Again, the plus version gets you the heavier 7,000-pound axle compared to the standard 2-strand. And then we have our 16-foot attached hydraulic pivoting elevator. Up and down functions ran via the winch, which again, there's a toggle switch to run that on the operator's platform, as well as a wireless remote control, which is nice for setup and deployment of that elevator. As far as options, again, auto tension, auto stop is an option. Operator's lights are an option. We can put the last piece table on here as an option. The 16-foot attached pivoting elevator is an option. If we choose not to have that, we still give you auxiliary hydraulics, so you can plug an elevator to run off behind of here. So we give you the Pioneer fittings to do all of that, as well as the valves. So it's really plug and play. Even if it's another OEM elevator, gives you the opportunity to plug right into there. And again, really excited for this thing. It's answered a lot of questions that people have had, or things that they've wanted. Again, people wanted a smaller frame, a more economically priced machine. They can run the 16-way wedge, which we can put our 40 horsepower fuel injected Vanguard gas engine on this frame, whether it's a 2 or 3 strand. We can go to a standard 49 horsepower diesel engine option on here, or we can go to the HP package, which gives us our 49 horsepower diesel engine, but with all the goodies again of auto stall bar retract with the air compressor, hydraulic auto cycle, increased split performance time, and as well as cut time. So again, really excited. You guys have been asking for the 16-way wedge on a smaller, more economically priced platform. Feel that we've delivered. And the 16-foot attached elevator has also been another high request that people wanted on the smaller models. And we now have that ability. So even on the 2-strand, we can adapt to that, which is really nice. Appreciate you guys watching, and please feel free to reach out at any time with any questions.